Hey everyone, this is Europa Universalis IV, and I'm going to take you through a not completely noob playthrough of Europa Universalis IV, but pretty close to as noob as you can get. I had this idea of doing a grand strategy game for a while, and I always really want to play one. I've been playing Europa Universalis now for about, I'd say about 12 hours, which is nothing in real terms. Enough to get a feel of the interface, a feel of how things roughly work and what I should be doing, and yeah, this is what I'm going to be doing. So I was looking at it, I would really like to, and because it's probably the series will probably not go on forever, and if it's just the first in a series, and what I wanted to do was play one of my own. But as you can see, the difficulty is really high on it. Diplomacy is about all I have. I can play as England, be really easy. I can play as one of the really crappy ones. I'm gonna go as Ulster because it'll give I can only be throne, can I? Well, this is wonderful. Let's zoom in. Can it be Ulster at all? Oh, well, Ulster is throne. Well, I'm gonna do that, and I can pick any period in time. Yeah, so I can pick from the rise of the Ottomans around 1444, the fall of Byzantium, a new world around the time when people are colonizing, war for the League of Cambrai. So that was the War of the Holy League. It was fought between 1506 and 1516. Pope Julius II sought to strengthen the position of the Papal States in Italy and therefore wanted to curb Venice's position in the north. So the Pope created the League of Cambrai, consisting of France, Emperor Maximilian of the Habsburg Empire, and Ferdinand I of Spain, and himself. I think we'll do that because things might be, yeah, a little bit quieter in this time, and this isn't going to go well because I'm a noob, but we'll get the idea anyway. So we're always going to be under constant threat. We don't really have very many skills, etc. in Ulster, but will be under constant threat from the English because they're right on our doorstep here in Mead and from mainland England itself, and even from the Scots. So it'll make it triply difficult, which is fantastic. So while games initializing, if you don't know, like I say, E4 is a grand strategy game, and the idea of these grand strategy games for Paradox mainly is that you know, they're very open-ended. You make your own story. Now, EU4 is slightly different in this sense because it does objectify some of the stuff that you get to do, which you'll see. If I just go through and show you what's happening in Milan's, I can see these shields with numbers beside them. Shields with numbers, shields with numbers. The ones in green are mine. Okay, so this one, if I mouse over the 6, actually gives me that these are fleets or ships. So I have 6 ships to my name. And I also have 3 leaders, so I have like 2 regiments of, if I click on this, I have Ulster's 1st Regiment, Men at Arms, 2 of those, and a mortar as well. And that's all I have to my name as far as that goes. I starts at the top. I've got money at the top, number of ducats. I have a manpower, which I'll come to. Stability, prestige, which is the overall score in the game. That's the scoring system. So your prestige, if you do prestigious actions, you get prestige, and that's what you say your overall score is. And legitimacy is a measure of how legitimate monarchs are perceived to be by their subjects. Herds with a weak claim will have low legitimacy once they inherit the throne, etc. So it's a bit how strong your thing is. Then we'll have our council of advisors and stuff here at the side. But the main thing along the top is here. So free advisors, national decisions available, disputed succession, no mission selected, and I can hire a free military leader. So let's do a national decision first. Okay, so we can do one. I'll come to the missions and decisions the top part of the second. But the national decisions here, I've got one that I can do. I can formalize weights, scales, weights and measures, right? My administration power would need to be 50, which is this bio here. This keeps ticking up, and I'll show you how that gets ticking up in a while. And administrative technology must be at least 5, which it must be. So I can get this to go up. I can take it straight away until 1821, which is a long way away. We'll never get that far. And it gives us an actual tax modifier 5%. We lose the administrative power, but we get that, and we have other ones that we can go through. I mean, these are long-term objectives in the game that you can aim for, like form an Irish nation. So I would have to own all the provinces, and I would get a 10 prestige for that on its own. I would get another tax modifier and have an increased revolt risk, which makes some sort of sense. But that would be good. Past license of a press act, probably somewhere away. We really have committed aristocratic ideas, so that's in the ideas panel, and acceptance. Past the Witchcraft Act, past the Liquor Act. Some long-term goals as far as they go. The other ones we have are these short-term missions. So these are small objectifying goals, and these are the things that I'm going to concentrate on, because these are the things that drive my moment-to-moment decisions within the game. These are basically just my short-term goals. So I can improve my prestige, and to do that I have to have a prestige of at least 50. Well, I'm at 4, and it's going down by 0.24 a quarter every year. So that one's unlikely, and all I would get for that is gain 1 stability. And as you'll see, we can buy stability, so that's not a big thing. We want England to be allied with Tyrone. So if I click on them, I can see their opinion of us is a plus 22. We've got some border friction, as I say here, but with the same religion, so that should help. So if I can get allied with them, it'll stop me being invaded, and even if Scotland invade me, I'll be in a little better position. So I think that's a goer. Save the Irish people in Meath would be another one. We'd need to own Meath, which would mean kicking the English out. We'd get 5 prestige for that. But realistically, we're going to get 10 for just forming an alliance with England, and that's easier done. We get diplomatic power for it as well. So I'm going to take that to be our current objective. For when we start, as you can see, we're paused at the moment, so there's nothing happening. I'm also going to turn on the view that gives a view of what land we own, and it makes it easier, the colour system, to do that. We have free military leader, so all we can do at this point is all these things here, options that I'm not really sure. Need quest for the new world for that one, I need an admiral, etc. This is the one. I can recruit a general. It costs me 50 military power, which does, and I get a guy that is good at fire. No, not so good at shock or maneuver. And fire. The fire value of the unit is measured the amount of casualties the units will afflict in the fire phase of combat. So combat goes in 3 phases. We might get to that at some stage, but it's really not something that we can do at the moment, because we've only got 3 regiments of troops, so war is not going to be our thing. The disputed succession just gives me a list of the countries which lack strong urge, so their legitimacy, the thing we were talking about before, is down. So I can get rid of that. We're not going to be interested in that. And I have a free advisor slot. So at any time, we can have 3 sets of advisors. So if I click one here, a government advisor. So we can have somebody that will boost our production efficiency. But he costs too much money. He's 236.2 ducats to buy. We've only 50. We've got somebody who can increase our national tax modifier by 5%, or a yearly inflation reduction of that. What they also do is give us +1 administrative power, which is really what we want to be banned. So I'm going to go for the cheapest one, and I'll go for the tax modifier, so we'll hire him. Okay, we can hire another one, except we haven't got enough money, so we'll have to start the game. Okay, so if our objective is to gain an alliance with England, if I go to alliance at the moment, I can offer alliance, and there's a big red X beside it, because we need at least 1 more positive than negative reasons. So we have 17 positive reasons and minus 125. So they have a domineering attitude towards us is the big one, the minus 100. Sorry, as you can see down the bottom. Right there. Throne army strength isn't great, and navy strength, etc. So we will try. None of these things, like proclaiming a guarantee in England, hardly make a difference. Oops, sorry. Form an alliance against somebody, relations actions. We're going to improve relations. So what happens is we send a diplomat, and over time they work on our relations with them and hopefully make them better. We're going to do the same with Connacht. So we have 2 advisors, and you'll see those 3 things tick down from 2 to 1 to 0. And we'll start the game, and we'll play in slowest speed. And what will basically happen is, you know, some events, world events will happen here, like Brandenburg entered a military alliance with Austria. These things will go on, and time will tick along here at the top. And for an awful lot of the game, it'll not change. There will be random events that happen over the course of time that we will see happen. You can also see we have a fog of war, so to speak, in the world. So we can't really see an awful lot of what's going on in the rest of the world, aside from what's around us, sorry. So I'll pump up the speed in a second, but for the moment you'll see this number ticking up. This is the one that we need to tick up. And once it gets to a certain point, we'll be able to offer a royal marriage, for instance. We'll be able, which will give us another bump up. And once it gets to a certain level, usually around 120, 130 to 150, something like that, we'll be able to offer that alliance, and then we'll be able to, you know, fulfill that part of our aim. We can also watch as our money goes up, and while that's happening, oh, if something happens, so we've got a royal marriage offer from England, so they're going to offer us. So increased chance of a new heir is 5%. We can gain more legitimacy, plus 0.0. That's a yearly legitimacy. So Lord of England wishes to enter a royal marriage with one of your sovereign and loyal lord's dependents. This will bring our two countries closer together. Our legitimacy overall will change by -3 when signing the deal to their inferior prestige and legitimacy. Having one royal marriages will have the following effects on Tyrone. We'll have a yearly legitimacy of plus 0.1, so that'll take us up to 0.14. So we're going to accept that. That's going to be good. So if I go in, you can see our relations have went up. We still can't offer an alliance yet because they still have a domineering attitude toward us, and we're still -89, but we'll keep working on that. We can go up to a plus 200 and stuff and that. It's a big ask, and this is why this is a rough starting point for the game, but I thought it might serve as an introduction. So there's trade embargoes and decisions. So what's actually happening in the rest of the game is the rest of the game is playing out as if lots of people were controlling all those countries, and things are happening around the world. Like I say, we've got a fog of war. We can't necessarily see what's going on in these countries. Could be wars. For instance, you look at Spain. Spain isn't Spain. They've got split into Aragon. You got Spain here. You've probably even got Granada as a separate state, or maybe not. No, they seem to have conquered part of Morocco there as well. So things are going on. France is very fractured and split. We have Scotland's coming to. Oh, I thought they were coming to invade us there. That wouldn't have been too good. As you can see, our opinion's gone up, plus 70. Our improved relations are going up, going up, going up. Our money isn't looking too good, so that's one of the things I wanted to show you. Let's go into money. So we're losing money every month. Now we can take a $2 loan. It's not really helping us. We've got missionary maintenance that actually isn't costing us a thing. The only thing that's really costing us anything is our army maintenance, and I can take that down for the moment, so we're only losing that. I could even reduce it further by taking the fleet maintenance down, so we're losing 0.75. I've taken everything down. Our costs are all in our advisors, really. Not one advisors, really. So, Mr. King, we are amused to discover that you now have our independence guaranteed by England. Well, I guess that being connected with such a mighty nation as ours makes them feel important. So England are basically looking after us in that session. We can invest in the cardinal. So along the time that's going along, another moving part in this, and it's not something that we will necessarily get involved in because we will not have a great amount of time, but we have a papal influence of 5.45, and that represents our influence with the Holy Father, so the Pope. This can be spent in future cardinals to make them loyal to us when they one day might become active cardinals. So at the moment, these are the cardinals, and these are the loyalty to the nation they're loyal to. And if a certain country has more than the others, like Portugal, they have 2 cardinals, they become what's called papal controller, and they get increased yearly prestige for that. They get more advisors. They can actually institute royal war, or holy wars if they're the papal controller. So these are the guys who are considered to be future cardinals. Now, they don't always get appointed in the order that they are there, but we can invest 5 points in somebody. So if I click on Mr. Here, you can see who's invested what in him. So nobody's really invested in Kalinowski here, so we're going to put our 5 into him. We don't become control of him or most exert influence over him, but the game will can tick on, and we will maybe someday hold sway over him if he gets elected a cardinal. Our relationship keeps going up and up and up. How are we doing on our offer alliance? We're still minus 86. I don't think we're going to get to this by just, you know, the improving relations. We might have to offer gifts or help join them in a war or something like that, which is going to be hard with only 3 troops. This might prove impossible for me because I am just not great at this. We're losing money still. We don't have very much trade to speak of. In fact, if I go into my advisors, I might need to gas this dude here. So I'm going to have to fire him. We're going to fire him. He's sacked. But what that really did is, we have a king at the moment, King Donal. King Donal the 14th O'Neill. That's a funny middle name, the 14th. But you would have thought he'd been King Donal O'Neill the 14th. But no, King Donal the 14th, and his surname's O'Neill. But he is not a particularly strong king. Okay, so he exerts we get 2 administrative skill a month. We get none diplomatic skill and 2 military skill a month. And that's what these 3 figures increase by a month. Sorry, that's not trick to trick. They increase by these, the 5, 3, and 5. They can be influenced by our advisors, for instance. They can be influenced by our king, mainly. So if his stats were higher, then we would gain more power in each of those bits. So if you have a weak king, your ability to make big change is lessened. If you have a great king, then you would gain more power. And what do you do with these power? Well, I'll do this first. Random events popped up. We've had complaints from several dignitaries in our country that the new practices of our merchants are clearly heretical, and that we should put a stop to them. So we have 2 options. We can accept the demands and lose 50 diplomatic power, or we can ignore them and lose 10 prestige. Now, what does prestige give us? Well, it gives us some global trade power. It gives us some morale of armies. You can see the stuff that's listed down there. And that would put us in the negative, and it would take away an awful lot of our ability to do stuff. So I think in this case, we've got 87 diplomatic power. We're not even close to spending it, so we're going to have to lose a diplomatic power, and we'll unpause. So we'll see what we're able to do with this. So if we go through some of these screens, this gives me my, you know, what I'm gaining every month. This screen, we've seen this. This is where we can use alliances, or in time we could fabricate claims on other provinces, etc. when we unlock those in research. You can see, because we fired our advisor now, we're making 1 ducat a month, which isn't a great deal, but what do you do? Our trade, we're not really affecting much, but you can see what we're collecting in trade from London and Bordeaux, and funny, Antwerp. And if we had trade, do we have trade dues? No, we've got a missionary. We could probably send him somewhere to try and influence somebody. Oh, sorry. We'll go back. So that's to do with the trade. We could trade its efficiency, steering, etc. If we could get a fleet on the road and out trading, we'd actually do alright. This is where our tech tree comes in. So we're actually starting off quite well. Level 7 and all these things, which is good. And these are where we spend, or we build up our ideas of our administrative part. When this green bar fills up, we will be able to spend this on, say, workshops and courthouse, in which we would get some bonuses for that. Same with diplomatic technology, we could research trade depot and dry dock, and same with pike and shot there as well. Okay, we have general grand ideas here, so there are overarching Irish ideas, so that things that happened in their history. We have had past as Irish endurance. Decades of disease and famine have mostly pushed the English invaders from our lands. Meanwhile, the Irish people grew all the stronger from their harrowing experiences. Yes, there's no stronger man on God's green earth than an Irishman. Yes, and our land attrition would have went down. These are things that we have achieved because of the progress that they made in real life. So we've done the clans. The stability cost modifier went down. From the royal clans, the symbolic High King of Ireland is elected. And the next one that will come up is the Northern Irish. So hardly did the Norman invaders embrace the Irish traditions, so much so that it's said they put on the airs of being more than Irish. The very nature of our culture is contagious, and for centuries yet will men embrace our way of life, and a nice little revolt risk will go down for that. So that those things will tick up over time, and as you can see, they go up, give us by 0.5 every year, and give us increased trade scoring. So Leinster's declared war on Connacht, and they cite conquest as Casus Belli. I'll come to that. Let's see. Herald, our king, I've stopped trying to improve relations with Connacht due to the maximum improve relations score of 100. Diplomat will remain in Connacht. Well, there's a chance he might get killed, so we're going to recall him, and we'll probably send him to here. Now we can fabricate a claim on there, but I'm just going to improve relations with Scotland. Yeah, we're only plus 29 with them at the moment, so we could even... Yeah, they think we're arseholes, so we're kind of minus 29 for them at the moment. Well, there's a war going on there between Leinster and Connacht out there. Connacht's going to win. Yo! So I'll go back to my menus here. So the missions and stuff we've already looked at. The grand ideas are things like noble knights, in this case aristocratic ideas. They've already researched the naval ones, which I'll go into in more detail if and when we get to that. Stability and expansion. Stability is a number put on your nation which affects things like revolt from peasants and from other people that citizens, I suppose, is the word. There are things like overexertion and war exhaustion which are not going to come to play for us. We've religion. Oh, we've got money to spend in the papacy, so we're going to put it in. Like I say, this isn't really going to affect us because other countries will be able to outspend us hardly in that. But we'll put in the Kalinowski here. Trade embargoes are all over the place. Religion. I've never really got in this, but they already have everybody in our provinces already are the same religion. Military I've went into very briefly, and that's that. So we've got another message that says England's declared war on Connacht, and they cite conquest as a casus belli. So when you go to war with somebody, you need to have a reason, and the reason is a casus belli. Now, for some, that can be an illegitimate reason, like they just want to conquest you, and you get penalised for it in the game. But again, it probably not happen this playthrough because there's not an awful lot we can do here. Stuck in Ulster, not making any money every month. It's gone up slightly. England have discovered fabricating a claim in our province Ulster. The reputation suffers. So we found them trying to fabricate a claim. So they're trying to gain a diplomatic solution to taking us over or for invading us, which isn't nice, obviously. So if we could do something about it, that would be fantastic, but we can't. We're minus 74 as far as minus 73 as far as getting anything done. We're not going to be able to pull this round unless we can get our improving relations up, certainly. I mean, it's getting up nearly the top level of what we can do anyway. But we would have to bring up the army strength over time. So we need to build units, I think. And God, this is going to be a big ask. It's what makes this very, very difficult. But we'll see. Our numbers are taken up as far as investing in things, so that might make a difference for us. And once we do that, we might be able to gain a bit more money every month. We're up to 1.23 a month, so it's tough going. We just need to maintain healthy relationships with everybody, I think, for the meantime. For instance, if we can get the Scottish allied to us, we might be able to fend off an attack if we call them into the war. So let's see. Nobles ally with foreign power. The nobility was not fully subjugated during this age, and the nobles could and did strike independent alliances with foreign princes. The crowns of Europe might not have liked it, but they were normally hard pressed to prevent these kinds of activities. So I can either lose a 33 administrative power, so I would gain a diplomatic insult, reason for war against Leinster, or I could lose 25 prestige and deal with them later. So I'm going to have to take a bite for the administrative part. 25 prestige is an awful long time. We've gained the casus belli against Leinster for insulting us. So we could, if we had a diplomat sent, we could go to war with them. But again, we've no real troops to go with. And England seem hell-bent on conquest of our poor little island, which isn't fantastic. And you're probably thinking things are very slow. And for an awful lot part of the game, there can be, unless you're being proactive, you just let the world play out around you. You know, and you kind of influence the world in whatever ways you can. I've invested a bit more of my people influence there, which is going down every month to 4.13, etc. So we've improved our relations with England as much as we can. Now I'm going to maintain the diplomat there, but we're not, to be able to form an alliance is going to be incredibly difficult. They've still got an opinion of -75 of us, and the only way we can really improve that anymore is by building our army up. So this objective that we had is doomed to fail at the moment, unless we can, something happens in the world that takes the English down a peg or two, because the English were a very, very heavy world power at this moment. So France goes to war with them. So expiring Casus Belli. So my Casus Belli against Leinster is going to expire soon in 1513 and the 13th of June. It doesn't matter, we weren't going to go to war with them anyway. We'll just keep ticking along. Our money's ticking up a little bit. And there is a chance we could have built some things. We've got a high level fort. Okay, England have declared war on Leinster, and they're going to go take Leinster down. Happy days for them. We have a terrible opinion of Leinster, so they're a rival of ours, so we're just going to let them burn, which is great. Yeah. So inside each province you'd see that there's you can see what buildings there are. There's a temple in there, etc., an armory, a dock, and they provide slight number modifiers the way along. I don't really know an awful lot about it, to be honest, so I'm not going to pretend like I do. Yeah, so the reason that I picked this to start off with was because I thought things might be quite slow at the start. If it started as Castile or something, where you are able to go to war quickly, which by the time I might do this a wee short introduction to the game, I might start up something like Castile, because at least in Castile you've got lots of options about what you want to do, and if you want to get involved and influence what I'm going to do, you can. So what I'm going to do as England are very menacing on my shore here. They could come and get me at any stage. I mean, they do have good opinion of us, but as far as treaties go, we're just so beneath them. What about the Scots? We're -14. We're getting there. What about a royal marriage with these dudes? I could throw a child or something like that. I've no diplomats to send, so let's see. I'm going to return home. That's okay, and when he returns home, we're going to offer a royal marriage with Scotland. Okay. So they're going to say yes. Do you wish to request a royal marriage with Scotland? This will bring our two realms closer together. Our legitimacy will change by -5 in this case when signing the deal, due to their inferior prestige and legitimacy. Having two royal marriages will have the following effect. So our legitimacy goes up by that, and increased chance for New Year. So let's do it. Let's make it happen. We had a royal marriage with Scotland, and our relations have improved. Okay. We can probably also, let's see, King be informed by the commander of the Great Guard in Ulster. Leinster have been discovered fabricating a claim on our province Ulster. Their efforts continue, but their reputation suffers. So they get penalties against their reputation more than anything else, which is whatever, really. We have recently, so we cannot send until the 6th of September. We will offer the alliance with which they will accept, and we'll make our first proper alliance here. So on the 6th, we'll go offer alliance. They are on the verge of saying no, but they will send yes. And we have got an alliance with Scotland. So they will agree basically not to invade us, and if we do go to war, they might come to our aid, which would be fantastic, and vice versa. I mean, what we can do for them is pretty low, which is probably why they were very much in defence of of whether to do it or not, but we'll see. So, naval technical developments are, well, all we've had is bad news from these random events, but sometimes, and an awful lot of time, they're good news. Our shipwrights are already excellent, but they're currently undergoing a burst of creativity that is leading to newer technical developments. So what I get is diplomatic technology cost goes down by 2.5% until 1518, which is 5 years, which is great. So we're in a military alliance there. And Leinster is occupied by England now, so that wee hazing line there means that they have been conquered basically by the English, and the English are going into Connacht. Weren't they lovely? So I have a I have a free diplomat. I can go back and improve relations. He may as well be doing something. He's already in his maximum value. But as you'll see, there, if I go to offer an alliance now, minus 82. You know, things haven't changed at all. They still think we're a complete underling. We need something to happen to England to take them down a peg or two. Where are all the other fabulous nations of the world? There's 67. I mean, I can't even build. There's no point even building one regiment here. They've got 19 in Connacht. They're taking it over, and if I go there, click on Connacht, you see that there's a siege going on. The defenders' morale's going down. They only have 1,400 troops, or 1,500 troops, sorry, and the English have 14,000, 2,000 horses, etc. And that siege is over. So they're conquering there. They'll probably go to Munster next, and then us, sadly to say, and that'll be the end of this series, because there is precious little we can do unless the Scottish come to our aid. So what I'll do is I'll speed up the game a little bit, and oh, I was going to say we'll call in into the first part. We have a couple of things to do. So tensions between nobles and clergy. In feudal kingdoms, two castes within society held great power: the nobility and the clergy. Now it turns out a baron and the local monastery of his fief are bickering about who owns a rather large piece of land. These days the royal court is swamped with people yammering about divine right, these nobles claiming their divine right to rule the land, and the clergy asserting their position as the representatives of God on earth. The whole situation is growing rather unstable. The baron in question is inciting the other nobles against the clergy and questioning their right to hold any sort of temporal property. The prior of the monastery has brought in the archbishop on his side, who in turn threatens to go straight to Rome should you decide to side with the nobles. Now what shall we do, my liege? So obviously in these times, in 1500 and 1500s, the Pope wielded an awful lot of power over all of Europe. Hence was his ability to go into wars or go into holy wars himself, like the Crusades earlier on in time, etc. So I have two choices. So the Papal State's opinion can be changed by Menace 100, or 6 noble regiments rise up and revolt in Ulster. So we can't let that happen. We only have three regiments of troops, so we have to take the first one. Hence why this is very difficult. So I have a national decision available, apparently. So I can declare the statute in restraint of appeals, officially demote the Pope, and instead raise the King to be the final legal authority in all matters of religion. I would gain 10 prestige. The Catholicism will gain 1% of the desire for reform. England's opinion would go down by another 60. The opinion of us would go down to minus 100, etc. Revolt risk goes down. The stability cost modifier goes down, which kind of doesn't matter. Our prestige goes up. Our reputation goes down, and the yearly papal influence goes down. It's a tough one. I mean, the only thing that makes me say not to do it at the moment is the fact that England's opinion would go even lower of us, and I think I'll sit in that for the moment. Not do anything. We'll invest a bit more. We've 30 invested in this Cardinal. France are leading with 40. There's an awful lot of people invested an awful lot in him, as you can see. We've invested 30, so we're sitting kind of just a bit above the middle part of the pack. But I'd say our days of influence in the Holy Pope are gone. I don't know about that. So join us in the next part, where again precious little will happen. We'll probably get invaded, and the game will end at some stage. But at least you'll have got an idea of what way the game works. Okay, thanks for joining us. Like, subscribe, give me some feedback in the comments or on the website on pilotshamepodcast.com, or get us on Twitter at pilotshamepc. Until then, I've been Chris. I'll speak to you soon. Goodbye.